Young girls, don't cry. You're not alone in the fight. The broken, the unspoken, we can't heal if the wound is open. It's like no one can see your heart is bleeding. Your cry is ignored when you are ill. When the wrong, the pain and lies are kept a secret, to gain for their own benefit. Be strong, be brave. You're too far away from the grave. Stand tall. We are here. We don't know the spirit of fear. We will overcome. Yes, we will overcome. We will overcome. Yes, we will. We will overcome. Yes, we will overcome. We will overcome. Yes, we will. Liberia, when will we stop being the inferior? Our vulnerable children, stripped of their innocence. It feels like no one here to see your heart is bleeding. Your cry is ignored when you are ill. When the wrong, the pain and lies are kept a secret, to gain for their own benefit. Be strong, be brave. You're too far away from the grave. Stand tall. We are here. We don't know the spirit of fear. We will overcome. Yes, we will overcome. We will overcome. Yes, we will. We will overcome. Yes, we will overcome. We will overcome. Yes, we will. Liberia, we can't give up when they have turned their backs on us. Liberia, we can't give up. Liberia, we can't give up when they have turned their backs on us. Liberia, we can't give up. Young girls, don't cry. You're not alone in the fight.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Men and women, welcome to the Commander Galpohkpa Chesson Talk Show. Today is October the 18th, 2021. The weekend is over. We rise to a new week. What can we expect for this week? We know that in America, the Republicans are still going on trying with their gerrymandering, trying to redistrict the political scene so they can have a pre-election advantage. As always, it's the advantage of having the House and the Senate, or the House or the Senate. Either one can be troublesome at times. So yeah, we are in this country with that. We look to our country, Liberia. We see that we wake up this morning with 40 or more Liberians locked up in a Kobo shop somewhere in Morocco because of the COVID testing and results in Liberia, because they're not up to standard internationally. We do things our way. Our people traveling internationally, they're doing things the other way, according to the other way with the rest of the world. We on Liberian Standard Time, everybody on the GMT. So when our people travel, they get stranded. Their results do not conform to international requirements. So now they can't leave Morocco. They got to spend the night there, maybe get tested again. So all of them, oh Lord, this girl loves this show. So all of them right now are packing a little Kobo shop somewhere in Morocco, owned by Liberia or somebody, that the next day before they can come, go where they want to go. These are the kind of embarrassment we're facing. I went on Joy TV today. I was just looking through them, and they were going all frustrated, pissed off, talking about how respectable Liberians can be locked up in the restaurant and expected to sleep overnight when our government embarrassing us. You know, we're not conforming to international standards. You take the test, it's coming out late. People do whatever they want to do. That's because we're not living up to the standards of the world. We are still dragging behind why the world is moving forward. It's not going to help us. And this is the reason why we need to bring our nation up to standard. And it's upon all of us, every one of us who are educated, skilled, have some idea of decency, living in America, working here. It's on all of us to help develop our country, to raise the consciousness of our people. It's not on Chesson or one person, no, but it's on Chesson to guide the process, to make sure we don't have lies and deception and evil and people coming in trying to influence the process of moving on forward so they can benefit, like our oil. You know, we're going to make laws to protect our people and make our people rich. Then a few greedy people come and secretly change the laws to benefit themselves. Then they come before us and say they're speaking for us. These are things that are killing us, man. And touching on our oil, I'm glad I touched on it. That thing can't be, we can't let that thing go. People got to be punished. The people, the families that own the oil company, our legislators that sat down and secretly passed that law to enrich those secret families, Both of those people gotta be punished. And when I say punish, we gotta punish them severely. When I talk about punish, I'm not talking about slapping on you on the wrist. I'm talking about putting you in jail for life. I'm talking about flocking you and making sure you work for the city and state for the rest of your life. Hard labor. And we'll find hard labor for you to do. And I don't care how old you are. You die cracking rocks. You die in the ditches. You die. We'll not kill you. We'll not execute you. But when we finish working you to death, you will be dead. Death is death. We'll work your ass to death. It gotta stop. It gotta stop. Listen to every show you go on, people crying. People crying. And the more you cry, the more the people do the wickedness. That's the problem with talking loud and saying nothing. When you talk loud, you got to say something. And you say something by punishing. By punishing. You can't talk for nothing. You got to punish to set the deterrence. If you say this got to stop, and you don't take measures to deter it or ensure that it stops, it will not stop. And you see with me, I don't play the Liberian game. No. I know my people. I know my people. I don't hide from my people. I don't lie to my people. I tell you the fact. You want us argue it, we'll argue it. I ain't beating around the bush. If it's wrong, I will tell you it's wrong. If it's politically wrong, it's wrong. It's wrong. If it's socially wrong, it's wrong. Financially wrong, it's wrong. And if it impacts the people of the Republic of Liberia, people gotta know. People gotta know. Because we can't go through this thing forever. Our nation claims to be America in Liberia. Then we gotta exemplify that kind of standard. We can't say we're America in Liberia. We want to look like America. We want to act like America. We want to be jealous when other people say Americans come here. Then we say, no, we're supposed to have them here. Then we're keeping our country in disrepair. Worse than the countries that we're jealous of that want Americans go to their country. And we say we Americans. We founded the first republic in Africa. Then we're not living up to the standards. You got to show your juice. That's our own proverb. You say you pineapple, show your juice. We're not showing our juice. We have not been showing our juice. We have not been. And we can't go on like this. We can't go on. We can't go on. You know, as one of the elders in my society right now, who knows and understands right from wrong, I gotta teach it. I can't pretend that things wrong and it's right. No, I'm not from the past. I'm a new breed of Liberian. That's why you see me, my name not in all the government thing going on in Liberia. You're not here Rodney Chesson name in any governmental stuff or any progressive stuff. Oh, look at my elbow. I've been up so long, I didn't put lotion on my elbow. But anyway, but you're not hear my name in all those kind of things. Because I'm a new breed Liberian. I didn't go to school to come and reach myself as a Liberian people. That's not what I went to school for. I've been working all my life for myself. I worked for the Liberian government when I was young. I told you, I saw the corruption. I saw when they burned the finance ministry in Liberia, the corruption didn't bother me at first. I wasn't bothered by it. I was waiting my time to see if I could come to America. So I was working. But when I saw the people burn the finance ministry because of corruption and stealing, that was the Pentecost for me. I said, no, I gotta leave this country. Because stealing is one thing. Destroying the infrastructure of my people. To how you're stealing, you want to destroy my nation and my people. You want to destroy us. Because not only did they burn the building, they destroy everything in the building. They had to pour water to stop the fire, and the water filter all through the building. And everything got messed up. And this is the kind of thing that destroys a whole nation, because just for petty cash, you destroyed everything in our country. The building, the computer, you put the people's lives in jeopardy for the daily bread. That's when I decided to leave Liberia. I said, no, things not getting better in this country. Things will get worse. Things will get worse. And I thought I left because right after I left, the war started. But when they killed my friend Charles Boyle in his Morgan, I had to check out. Because me and the boys used to talk every Sunday. We used to meet every Sunday and sit and talk. And they used to be free, talking freely. As you're telling guys, this is not talk about time. You can't talk freely. Oh, Chesson, we battle, man. Where was what? Where something? And Morgan said he was battle. Oh, you Chesson, so you just said that we'll protect you. So I said, okay. And those my boys disappeared, man. Don't kill my boys. I had to check out. You know how it is when they kill your friends and people know you and these guys talking every day you're together. Sunday you're sitting down talking, all Sunday you're spending all day together, chilling or talking. You know how many times I've been implicated in just by association? Luckily people know me. I ain't that kind of guy. So that would be saving me. But it's hard to live in a place you can't trust people, man. It's terrible. It's terrible to live in a country where deceitfulness is so prevalent. You don't know who to trust. I mean, it's all over the world like that. It's all over the world. But in a country where everybody's supposed to be related and we're not related, it's a problem. It's a problem. And when you're young, you don't see these things. But as you start growing up and you're seeing it, you're coming to the realization that people, you can't trust certain people. You got to be careful and walk slowly. You can't say everything you want to say. The reality of life, when you come out of college and come into the real world, it's a different thing. That's why everybody tell you in college, oh, come into the real world. Because when you're in college, you're in a make-believe world. You're in the book world. Everything is book. Everything is philosophizing your life. Putting meaning to your life. It's just like going from politics into law. or when you enter law school from undergraduate school, one of the first things they tell you, law is not politics. The first thing the law book tell you, morality is not the law. It's a difference. You got to understand it before you really understand it. It's hard because most people come out of first year out of undergraduate school with the social sciences. You did political science, you did everything, except the people who did the sciences. Those people are more structured in their thinking, but they still got to do a little bit of social science to do law. You can't come from math straight into law. That way you have undergraduate studies in undergraduate school. That's why you are compelled to do college required courses for your first 2 years. So it gives you a sound background of understanding life. So that will make the sciences important, the social sciences, political science, social science, philosophy. Those are important studies that deal with understanding human beings. They are the social sciences. But when you graduate from those areas and come into the law, you are coming into a profession that is precise and exact. You know, bullshit with the law. The law is the law. You either know the law or you don't know the law. So for your first year, it molds your mind into thinking legally. Because everything people think is socially right now, because when I'm talking with you on everything, most of the people in the community talk on the social level, on morality, religion, society, what is good for the people. Those are societal issues. All of us can deal with those issues. But when you come to the law, you extract the reasoning of law from all those things. And most of these things don't matter because they are things for the society. They're not things for technocrats. So that what makes it hard. And the book always tell you there's a difference between morality and the law. And you got to know those differences. Okay? So this brings us down to my topic because all my lecture is geared towards the aim of my topic and what we're dealing with in my country. Let's go to my topic. Number one, Nyonblee Karnga-Lawrence and the CPP. Two, Joseph Boikai's leadership must demonstrate forthright governance. Three, good, impartial governance matters. Let's start with Nyonblee Karnga-Lawrence and the CPP. I woke up this morning listening to the talk show hosts, the podcast hosts, the different ones. And few of them, the main thing they're talking about is Nyonblee Karnga-Lawrence and how she failed, how she incompetence, how she incompetent, how she so bad, how she the problem in CPP. I'm listening to these men. I'm like, Nyonblee Karnga-Lawrence, she the problem is in CPP. She caused all of this. Then I want to focus on Liberia with Anthony C. He's reviewing her performance. And I said, how can you review this woman's performance? And I said, where did she perform? She never performed. During the time of her performance, that one Bernard and I came up with his they say letter. But there has been serious problem with the CPP. And the problem in CPP is just a reflection of the problems with men in Liberian society. It's a problem with men because men are our leaders. We are an African society. Men lead our society. And I'm coming to Nyonblee Karnga's defense because I think she did a good job. I think, despite some of her flaws, well, the bastard love thing she had with Darius Dillon and the shenanigans they carry on. When it came to CPP, I respect her for two things. One, as a legislator, she was the only one that returned her stolen $15,000. When we started to return the money, she willingly wrote the Ways and Means people and said, yeah, my $15,000. That's the first thing Nyonblee Karnga did. And she the only one that did that. So we can account for Nyonblee Karnga's $15,000. It's in the Liberian treasury. Secondly, the reason why Nyonblee Karnga came up with this letter is because of Henry Costa and people like me. And all of us who are yelling, we want to know the truth. We don't want no damn meeting. We wanted what happened to come out because they were waiting to have secret meeting. They were waiting for the lawyers to come and talk and bring them together. And the senior Joe Boikai said they would do everything in-house. And people saying, no, we don't want in-house. We want this thing to go to court. We want to know who is really wrong. We cannot keep covering up these kind of deceptive practices. Our leaders got to account to us. We own our country. We own our country. And that the only thing Master I've been seeing all the time, people say, oh, Chesson this, that. No. I didn't go to school to come and be deceived myself and other people. I've lived with this thing for too long. We have lived with this thing for too long. We can't keep covering up. We cannot keep covering up. If we see something wrong, we must pursue it to the end. If we take a path, we must pursue it to the end. I know Boikai can bring the CPP together. I have no doubt about that. But first of all, the men behind Boikai are not scrupulous people. I know Anthony Casa leader. I know that whole Turbo group, that Turbo progressive group. They're a lie. They're make up shit. They think the politicians. They're the people that are changing all these things around here, causing all these problems in there behind Joe Boikai. As soon as you hear the name, you know what the problem coming from right away. I dealt with those people all my life in Eula. Since I've been in America. Look at Eula today. Anthony Casa and Lee and all the people behind Joe Boikai led Eula for 20 years, 30 years. Look at Eula today. Eula's divided more than ever. Eula is non-existent. It's non-existent. Why? Because they divided Eula on country line. These are educated people with master's degree talking about no Congo man will lead Liberia. How you talk about country after a civil war where you didn't beat the Congo people? After a civil war where Congo people led military people from tribal people, then you come and tell us that Congo people will not lead Liberia. What kind of stupid thing is that? Congo people got country children. Country children got Congo people. Then you tell us we're not rising the government again. You see, when you got people with master's degree and PhD from the West, they're supposed to be wise. Then they are the dumbest asses around. There's a problem with our educational system. There's a problem with our leadership system. There's a problem with our moral system. There's a problem with our religious system. All those systems are broken down because these people are coming home with any beliefs. They have no beliefs. When you don't go to church, you say you're Christian. You don't know about the Bible. You don't know about Christianity. You say you're Christian. Then you go to school. You sit down, you learn from other people, your mom part, and you say you know about Liberia. That's the same Christianity in Liberia. How you learn about Christianity in Liberia? Second hand. Then you come on with PhD, say you want to lead our people. Then you come, everything we talk about in our country, America, 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 America. You live right there in the country. We got serious issues in our country. Our people now amalgamated. They're not united. They're not solidified in their thinking. The resources in our country is not tapped. We got resources in our country that needs to be tapped. We can't keep giving to the foreigners. We got to build. We got to own our shit. If you give it to foreigner, you don't own it. The foreigners own it. We got to know our thing. And that's where our indigenous people become significant in the development of our country. Who you think will take us to all the places? The people who live in the area. People who grew up in the area. People who know about the areas. That's paying attention to our country. That's paying attention to the necessities in our country. We don't pay attention to it. We don't pay attention to it. And that will return into the soil means. It doesn't necessarily mean going down there and digging and planting rest. No. It means tapping into the resources of our country, the total resource, the human, the natural, every kind of resource. Because in every community, we have people, human resources there that have already tapped into the natural habitat of the land. But we as leaders got to understand how significant it is to understand the significance of those people. Our people that know the land, that they need to be educated on how to apply the skills to the land. We are not conscious of our surroundings. That's the problem with us. We are in Liberia, but our minds in America. Everything we compare to America. Because we don't understand the essence and wealth of our human resources. That's the greatest thing we got. That whole we're a fuss with each other. Yeah, we're a fuss with other. But when we try to hurt each other, look at in America, they do the same thing they do here. You know, the damn little bitch. They do it right in America. You Portuguese, you damn Indian, you damn Italian. Get away from here, man, you Irish. They do it right here. They do it right here. They got the same ethnic problem we got in Liberia. But the leadership, educated people, understand that cannot come in the way of national development. We can have our own idiosyncrasies. We can have our own problems and our issues. But when we let our issues dominate the greater picture of our nation, then it becomes a tribal shit and not a national shit. And we want to keep it national. We don't want to keep it tribal. And that's what education allows us to do. Education allows us to see the bigger picture. If we want to, if we're not greedy, if we're independent, if we're free thinking, if we're Christians. That way Christianity is important. Free thinking. We're not bound by religion. Christianity is the only religion that doesn't bound us by so many rules. I travel, every time I travel, Africa, Middle East, Caribbean, anywhere, and I mix with Arabs or Islamic people, everything with them is knowledge of the past. If you sit with educated people like that, they will start telling you about the great prophets said this, the great prophet quoted this, the great prophet quoted that. Because that's what they seek. That essence of knowledge to recite, to quote people, and all those things. When you come to other religions, like Christianity, that gave you free thinking, it's a different kind of education. It's not an education to show or display knowledge of the teaching of the prophets and all of them. No, that's not what Jesus wants from us. Jesus, by the teaching, is in charity, works. What can you deliver? When you can demonstrate that you can deliver, when you can demonstrate that you can draw people to you, not by being verbose or demonstrating intelligence and that kind of knowledge, but showing kindness and charity and fairness and justice. That's a different kind. Yes, there are those who are always gravitated to people who demonstrate knowledge. But there are those who are more gravitated to those who show kindness and charity and love. And this is not a religious class. But this is to put us on the path of understanding our mission. Our mission is not only politics. Our mission is understanding the deeper needs of our people. Why? We cannot look only to one aspect of things, but the overall aspect. Same thing with Nyonblee Karnga. Everybody looking for performance and failure. No, Nyonblee Karnga did the right thing. She did the right thing for us. And I told Anthony see it. I said, you can't evaluate the woman's performance. How you do that? From the time the woman been chairman, her party been in upheaval. Just like the CPP, they're fighting internally, the CPP fighting on the greater scale. The same problems. People dividing the organization because of personal interests. Look at the fuss between Musa Belete, Nyonblee, and Darius Dillon, and all of them in the party there. How long it been going on? People suspending people. People have all kinds of things been going on. And the problem is still not resolved. Then you got Nyonblee Karnga, chairman of the CPP. The CPP having its own inner fight between Bernard Yure and Ella Cummings. They're sitting down having a meeting. And everybody, my young children, you're right. People pointed out the fact that Joseph Boikai been quiet the whole while. So why has he been quiet? Why? He been sitting in all the room meetings. He's seeing the fight going on between Bernard Yure and Cummings at first. Then Cummings In Nyonblee Karnga, he hasn't said anything. Never uttered a word the whole while. Now people say he's becoming chairman. All of a sudden, he's the man to solve the problem. The people on Jaw Radio are talking this morning that deception. People were talking the deception. All the time the fuss was going on. Nobody could find a solution. Now all of a sudden, Boikai got the solution to everything. But you see, when you got bad men behind you, when you got evil men behind you, it's the same thing that will go on. Anthony Cassidy and all these people behind Boikai been there from Amos Sawyer. Anthony Cassidy was the same special man to Amos Sawyer. And look at what Amos Sawyer did to Liberia. These are the same recycled people. These are the same recycled people in Liberia. We have no new people. We have no new people. We have none. And it hurts me when these men mess up everything, then they won't put it on Nyonblee Karnga. This what doesn't give the women chance in our political system. Because no matter how high the women rise in our governance and government, they are chattel. They are chattel in our country. As long as female mutilation, genital mutilation persists and is not banned, they are chattel. We got to understand our culture. We got to understand our people. We got to understand our legal system and our rule of law. Because if we don't understand that we'll be sitting there talking, making laws, calling the white people into our issues, and they can't resolve certain issues. And for us Christians, that's an abandonment of the prayer of serenity. Because the prayer of serenity teaches us to know the things we can change, the things we can't change, and to thank Jesus Christ for knowing the difference between the two. So here we are, from time immemorial, fighting to change FMG, FGM, female genital mutilation, calling the white people United Nations, and all these things are changing. And the white people themselves, they know they can't change it. They know they can't change it. And I don't know what they're telling our women who keep fighting on this issue, taking to the foreigners, it's not a social issue. It's not a political issue. It is a religious issue. So that takes it out of the realm of social and politics. It's a whole issue. It's a Dazo issue. It's a Jesus issue. Government can get involved with that. Freedom of religion. You don't know that. It's not harming you. It's not killing our people. It's an age-old tradition. We can't just change it like that. Plenty of people in our tribes practice it. We can't just change it like that. So if you don't know the prayer of serenity, you'll be fighting to change something that our culture inherently practices. And when that change it like that. So when you hear people talking about female genital mutilation, oh, UN, you know that people don't understand the mechanism of our government and governmental system and culture. Okay? So let me wrap up the Nyonblee Karnga thing because I gotta get out of here soon. It's almost 7 o'clock. You gotta get off of Nyonblee Karnga. She's a fair woman. She turned her money back in. The most fair person on the whole Liberian legislature. She's a fair woman because these people wanted to hide this thing and work it on among themselves, which will never work out because they got personality issues. It's not only political, it's personal. Then I cannot work with Alec and Alec Cummings got her own ways with Ellen and all of that. It's a little intertwined, useless people thing. So it ain't gonna be resolved in that. And here we are, it's all blown up in the open. Don't put it on Nyonblee. Nyonblee did the right thing by letting us know what's happening and not letting these people try to cover it up. Because if they cover it up, it would have blown up bigger than it is. Thank you, Nyonblee Karnga. And I support Nyonblee Karnga-Lawrence for Vice President of Liberia. I rest my case on that. Let me take a breather, then we'll move to my next topic. Okay? I try to go into length to bring into all other factors that I think impact this one topic that we should know about. Because understanding our society and the deception and the lies and the treachery of the people that are leading us today is deep. It's deep. Because from time immemorial, these same practices have governed Liberia and Liberian people and led us astray time and time again. Why? Because of our ignorance. Because of our persistence on solving things in the closet. Sometimes we have to bring these things to light. Let justice prevail. Let us set precedents. So when we go to court, we can have things that the court can look back to and say, yes, this thing happened before, and this how the people solve it. So it is not new. We got examples. They call it precedents that we're trying to. Okay? So let me just take a coffee break, and I'll be right back. Joseph Boikai's leadership must demonstrate forthright governance. It hasn't thus far. Everybody talking about how Joseph Boikai been quiet. There's no way the senior member of the CPP will be sitting there and quiet throughout the charade that been going on between Benani Yure, Alec Cummings, Nyonblee Karnga-Lawrence, Musa Ability. All these people, Boikai just been quiet. And we have to point this out. He's a senior member. He's been quiet all the while now. He has taken over the thing. He's talking about calling the people together. He's talking about unity and all of that. But where was he all the time? When he was sitting in all these meetings and things. Secondly, the people behind Joe Boikai. When I saw Anthony Chesson put out notice of that Boikai is resting and he did it, I said, oh, the people behind Joe Boikai again? I see why the United States of America warned us that the people behind Joe Boikai are to be watched. Not only Benani Yure, you got a whole top of progressive where you see Anthony Chesson, there's Anthony Cooney, there's Wilmer Cooney, there's Emmanuel Wetty, all of them together from the old EULA group. These guys rule EULA for 20 unbroken years, and there's nothing to show for EULA. The highest amount they ever raised for EULA was $2,000. These people rule EULA and didn't know the chapters. They didn't know the board members. They had no structure, nothing. Nothing. I had to go from Rhode Island to the board before changes started to be made. Then we moved them and elected James Lassar, and they divided Eula. They said Eula James Lassar for the Congo people. He was two. After they had used James Lassar for 20 years, James Lassar did everything for these guys, man. When we got there, we started opening James Lassar eyes. People now reporting money. Chapter now registered. James Lassar himself from Washington chapter. There were no Washington chapter. How you have James Lassar serving on the board when the rules of the board say every member working on the board must come from a registered chapter. But yet, James Lassar chapter not registered. But he is Anthony Cassidy's right-hand stooge. He's Wetty's right-hand stooge. He's Wilma Cooney's right-hand stooge. These boys were using James Lassar like a little kick it. Sending him so and so and so. When we got there, we told him, no, James Lassar, first of all, you can't be here. We told James Lassar, you can't be on the board. Washington has no chapter. How you serve on the board, you don't come from a chapter. Where you're running your friendship organization. Cassidy then got together and paid for the registration of Maryland, which was against the law, because Cassidy is not from Maryland. How you register Maryland when Maryland doesn't have a chapter at all? So we said, okay, Lassar, do it. So after they register Lassar or from a defunct chapter, we opened Lassar eyes. We said, now Lassar, you here? You're being used like a stooge. You better come to your senses. Lassar came to his senses. So we told him, okay, now it's time for you to run for chairman because you've been leading the organization. Cassidy don't know nothing. Wetty don't know nothing. Cooney don't know nothing. James Lassar been writing all the letters, been doing all the laws, been making all the rules. These guys have been enjoying the money and coming and making speeches and things like that. And Lassar been writing all their speeches too. So we said, no, Lassar, you're the man. Step to the plate and be leader. And Lassar stepped to the plate. And we won them by one vote. You are divided. You see, they used Lassar for so many years that we opened his eyes. And told him, no, Lassar, you're the leader. You can't be the stooge. You do everything. You're the man. So these are the people with Joe Boikai. And Joe Boikai remained silent the whole while. And people say, it's deceitful. Why? Because he got deceitful men around him. He got men who will lie at the drop of a hat. Look at Cassidy lie. I put a sheet in Joe Boikai hand when he came to Rhode Island, a little note, and said, Joe, call me. And Joe went home and called me. Now Cassidy, nobody knew about it. I never told anybody. That was my secret between me. Only my wife knew that the vice president called me and he and I talked. Cassidy come here, the first thing I see again a little first, he telling me he made arrangement for me to talk to Joe Boikai. That people I can follow. Right there. The man lied on me. He lied to the public. That shows you how the people of Anthony Cassidy and that's what they would do. They would lie at the drop of a hat. Okay? Let me move to my third topic. Take a break. So Joe Boikai people got to demonstrate forthright governance. I am in my mid-60s. All my life in Liberia, I spent most of my life in Liberia. The first half of my life, I left Liberia when I was almost 30. So when I talk about Liberia, I wasn't born here. I didn't grow up here. I wasn't educated here. The crux of my knowledge from infant to adulthood was in Liberia. I worked for the government. I served my people. I wrote about my country. Still writing. Haven't stopped yet. So I have an in-depth knowledge of what happened in my country. It's not in our best interest. Most of the time, it has not been in our best interest. I can't say all of the time, because there were some good times on the Tutman and Talbot. There was a good examples it set for us. So I can't say everything was bad. But some of the things persisted too long. You see, it wasn't that they bad. They didn't change things. Things that needed to be changed, and they knew needed to be changed. They did a little to change it, and then stopped. Because they didn't want it to interfere with their enrichment, with their enjoyment, with their power, with their influence over the people. And this has got us where we are today. Part of it involved nepotism, lies, deceit, treacherous behavior, evil. And these things still go on today. But it's worse now. It's so bad now that our sovereignty is in the balance. Our sovereignty is hanging. The health of our people. When I say sovereignty, I'm not talking so much about foreigners coming over and taking our country. That has already been done. We're part of it. We are a satellite state of the UN. We're not an independent state right now. We ain't got no money. We're depending on people so bad. But when I say the sovereignty of our country, we need a healthy nation. We need a sound nation. We need a nation with morals. A nation inspired by our history and our strengths, our human resources. For too long, we feel. Our country not supposed to be like this. Our country is supposed to be far better. We are an enlightened people. We are a brilliant people. We are God's people who have lost our way, and we must find it back. We have lost our way, and we must find it back. It is essential. It is essential to our survival, our progress, our advancement, our future, and above all, our posterity. Good, impartial governance matters. We can only ensure that when we have good leaders, a sound court system, and people who will implement our laws, knowing that they have a responsibility to ensure that our country survives for our posterity. The time of the Liberian people is now. The time of the Liberian people is now. It is our duty and responsibilities to change our country. Can we? Aluta! continue. Have a good day. My class is done.